Hey everybody, this is Izzy here coming to you with an Endgame spoiler review. This is going to be pretty different for me as I've never recorded a video review that is centered around spoilers. So this is going to be different for me, so please bear with me. I am still getting used to the process of reviewing these type of films, and again, it's a journey for me. I'm enjoying it. Just give me some time, give me some patience, and believe me, it's gonna get better for me. With that said, as everybody knows, Endgame starts off immediately after Infinity War. Thanos has completed the snap, and half of life as we know it has been completely eradicated from the universe. We're not talking about just simply America, we're talking about across the globe. The globe has essentially felt the effects of the snap. We think about government officials, military personnel, doctors, dentists, families, pilots. Think about all the fallout that has essentially been created from Thanos snapping half of life is right there in your face within the confines of this film. And it starts off with Hawkeye and his family having a family outing, and all of a sudden, his daughter's gone, his wife is gone, his sons are gone. It sets the mood for what's about to transpire throughout this journey that we have been a part of for the last 11 years. I mean, you have to remember, this started in 2008. And we have essentially become bonded with these characters, and they have a dramatic truth to them, and to see them suffer is what initially allows us to feel for their pain. And Hawkeye's tragedy at the beginning of the film just completely sets that ominous mood that is absolutely necessary to show just how serious the effects of the snap is. And it transitions to Tony Stark and Nebula in space, and Stark is simply doing his very best to try to survive within the vastness of space. And Robert Downey Jr. does such an amazing job in capturing the hopelessness and just looking rugged and completely out of his element once again, knowing that there is no hope for him. He is completely on the verge of death. And that's when Captain Marvel enters into the picture and she saves him. That was another cool scene. I just really loved how powerfully acted that particular scene was, not only between Stark and Nebula, but it really has a unique atmosphere to it. And I love any film that has a strong character development moment where you are related to the characters and their surroundings, and you just never exactly know what's going to come out of their mouths, and at the same time you don't know how it's going to end for them. And I just thought that's what separates the Marvel Cinematic Universe films from just a lot of other stories in general, whereas each and every character has a dramatic truth to them, and it makes them that much more fun and special in the sense of connecting with them. Even though they're fictional characters, we still care about them, and we care about not only their success, but we care about their failures as well. And another favorite scene of mine actually is the tensions from Civil War between Captain America and Tony Stark is very prevalent in the film. There's still that sense of Stark holding that resentment towards him, knowing you have to remember, this is going back to Age of Ultron, where Stark is wanting to create this worldwide protector unit that will stop global catastrophes before they even start, whether they come from within or they come from above. And it didn't work out that way, and it just really makes that story that much more compelling between Tony Stark and Captain America. It's a powerfully acted scene as Tony Stark as Robert Downey Jr. once again showing a withered, broken down, beaten, bruised, humiliated, just completely not wanting to go any further and scared. I mean, just think about it. He was almost killed on Titan against Thanos and almost died in space. It's such a powerful acted scene. I loved it. That's actually, if I'm going to be completely honest, before I even get to the rest of the spoilers, I love that scene. It's just one of those type of scenes where it, again, sets the mood. How the Russo brothers has managed to not only just maintain the material that's in this film, but utilize every sense of material that started from 2008 with Iron Man all the way through Endgame. You're talking about 11 years worth of storyline and character arcs that I often wonder what would have happened if Josh Whedon continued with the Avengers project, because If Avengers Age of Ultron broke him, I'm almost certain that if he attempted to do what the Russo brothers did with not only Infinity War but in Endgame, we probably would have never heard from Joss Whedon ever again. So you can forget about him reshooting Justice League. This would have completely, probably Thanos him out of existence. Nothing against Joss Whedon, just saying that's the truth. There was another moment in the film that I found that I thought was really cool was them using the time displacement machine or time displacement wristbands that Tony Stark created, and also using the quantum the PIM particles and the quantum realm technology to go into different time periods of space and space continuums. Excuse me. And you have them going back to the Battle of New York with the Chitauri from the first Avengers film. You have Tony Stark and Captain America going back to the 70s. Yeah, going back to the 70s, actually, if I'm not mistaken, with them trying to find the Tesseract. And you have Hawkeye and Black Widow going to Vormir to capture the Soul Stone. Then you have War Machine and Nebula going to Morag to get the Power Stone. And that's a funny scene too. Actually, I whenever I think about that, I find myself laughing. And it was really cool just seeing those same scenes that we have grown to accustomed to, and how each and every one of them have their own unique tone and flavor. And that's what separates the Marvel Cinematic Universe from other comic book films in the past and even in the present. I was actually surprised with a lot of the deaths that happened. Black Widow dying absolutely surprised me. I did not expect that, because I know she has a solo film coming out very soon. I just did not expect her to die the way she did on Vormir. That was another powerfully acted scene between Jeremy Renner and Scarlett Johansson. It was also cool seeing the Red Skull again. I mean, I could never get tired of seeing him. He's one of my favorite villains of all time in Marvel comic history. I will say, as far as the portrayal of Bruce Banner, and I know there's a lot of people who particularly didn't care for how the Hulk looked within this film, and this is quite faithful to the comic books, as eventually Bruce Banner does find a way to combine the personality of the Hulk and himself, while also still maintaining that same appearance of the Hulk, while keeping his genius level intellect and not being the savage brute that we all love when it comes to the Hulk. I can understand why a lot of people didn't like it, and me personally, to be quite honest, I do like Mark Ruffalo, but I still prefer Edward Norton's portrayal of Bruce Banner and his appearance. I've always envisioned Bruce Banner the way Edward Norton played him in the Incredible Hulk, the Incredible Hulk film in 2008 after Iron Man. And he just looked exactly like Bruce Banner, and with the glasses and the lab coat, it's just picture perfect. Unfortunately, it didn't work out between Marvel and Edward Norton, but hey, I could live with Edward Norton, and I could live with Mark Ruffalo being Bruce Banner and the Hulk. I can see why a lot of people didn't particularly care for how he looked in the film, but again, it's faithful to the comic book, so I can't get too mad at that. I just wish there was more of him engaging in the battle scenario, but hey, what can you do? There's only so much balance as far as making sure that each and every character gets their moment to shine with a film of this magnum opus. That's just the way it is. Not everybody's going to get their time to shine. Trying to think what else. Aside from Black Widow dying, which was a huge surprise for me, I'm going to say that Thor, Chris Hemsworth is a very underrated comedy actor. That's just, I don't know. I know one friend of mine didn't particularly care for Fat Thor. I thought that was one of the coolest parts of the film was him. We see Thor completely out of his element. He has given up himself. This what we're used to as to him being the cool, badass warrior, the god of thunder and lightning. He has given up. He has, again, the entire Avengers has failed. They have lost against Thanos, and he is not willing to put himself in that situation, knowing that they can experience that same type of outcome once again. But it was still cool to see Chris Hemsworth bring a unique flavor to the character of Thor, and for them to go back to Asgard to get the excuse me, my brain. It's been a long day for me, so forgive me. When him and Rocket went to get the ether from Asgard. The last 20 minutes of the film is truly a comic book panel coming to life. You think about as a little kid, you're sitting here, you're looking, you're reading these images, you're reading the words, and you're seeing these wonderful pictures before you, and you're just thinking how cool it would be to see these images come to life. And with Captain America, aside from him wielding Mjolnir, that was one of the coolest moments of the film. I had goosebumps. I started tearing up when that happened. The whole theater just erupted in applause and cheering and gasping and whistling. The electricity when that happened, as they were fighting Thanos, was off just completely. I can't express how beautiful not only that moment was, but just the reaction that we all elicited when it occurred. And just when you think that he's down and out, and the moment is built up to that moment very perfectly. You knew they were going to come back at some point. You just didn't know when or how. And when you hear Sam's voice over their comms, and you see Black Panther, Shuri, and Okoye coming out, then you see Doctor Strange and the other Supreme Sorcerers coming out. Then you see Bucky returning, and you see Groot and Drax and Scarlet Witch and Mantis, and you see Quill, Gamora, Nebula, and War Machine, Rocket. It was just so powerful. And when Cap says a line, yells Avengers, and it says a symbol, you just, I'm getting goosebumps now just talking about it. It was so magnetic. Tony Stark dying was a huge surprise for me, and I'm going to tell you why. I was hoping they were actually going to go to the direction of maybe having Tony Stark become the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., retiring from his role of Iron Man, but maintaining a relationship with the S.H.I.E.L.D. Organization, and him being the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., replacing Nick Fury. I would have preferred that, but hey, I'm cool with him dying, sacrificing himself for humanity and for the world overall, and it was still cool. I mean, that was a very hard scene to watch, because that was very dark. That was a very dark moment for me, and this is probably the darkest Marvel Cinematic Universe film that I've ever watched, and it was still fun and emotional, and that's what it's supposed to do. The fact that the Russo brothers managed to make you feel the pain of watching Tony Stark die was, man, that was a very powerful moment, and beautifully acted by Robert Downey Jr. I can't stress just how much I loved this film, how special it is, and I will definitely be watching it again. And the business at the theater has been ridiculous for this. It's insane. It's insane just how many records this film has broken. But with that said, I'm very curious to see what everybody else thought about this film. I really am. Let me know what you think about the comments, what you liked or you didn't like, and where you could also let me know what you liked or didn't like about on my Facebook as well. The link is on my Facebook, and the link is on my YouTube as well. And with that said, I think the next review I will be doing will be Detective Pikachu. If not Detective Pikachu, it's most likely going to be Hobbs and Shaw. Either way, there will be, with huge films coming out more in the summer, you can rest assured that I will be reviewing them on top of review. So either way, let me know what you think, and you will be hearing from me soon. Take care, my friends, and I will see you again.